Hi and welcome to The Joy of Photography. This week I'm going to show you how to create this canal image with just a compact camera.
This is the 9 locks in Dudley, and if you're on a canal boat it's going to take you a long time to get from that end to this end. But we've come up to this bridge to get a viewpoint over the whole thing, and we've got some nice detail in the sky there. I think it's going to make a nice black and white where we can really highlight that grey sky. And I've just bought a compact camera. I haven't bought a DSLR, just an ordinary everyday small compact. You could do this too. Go down to your local canal, try to keep some water detail or some feature in the foreground so that we can pick some reflections up, and we can work on those with the dodge and burn tools later, in the same way that we can work on that sky there. So let's give it a go, see if we can get a nice image out of this.
Okay, let's take a couple of pictures, and it's looking good. There's the picture. As you can see, it's taken on a little Fuji. I've used simulated Velvia, so it's quite colour saturated. Now let's start my black and white edit in Adobe Photoshop. And we've got some nice light. There was just a little burst of sunlight that came out very briefly. As you can see from the sky, it was very grey and cloudy, but I like that. Gives us some detail in the sky to play with on this black and white, and it is going to be black and white. So the first thing I'm going to do is desaturate the picture. I've got image adjustment, hue and saturation, and taken that saturation down to 0. Okay, so this is our picture that we're going to play with. First things first, this light is a problem, so we're going to take our clone tool and do a little painting out here. We're not going to go right, we're not going to worry too much about this. Oops, that's on 14. We're not going to worry too much about this because I'm probably going to crop across the bottom here. I don't need all this water, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. And just put that in there, just get rid of that. Okay, so there's our picture. I like this man over here standing on the bridge. I think it makes the picture. I'm not sure about these here. I think I'm going to paint those out. It's just nice that he's a solitary figure, look there, and he's standing by himself. I really like that. It's got a really nice sort of poignant, he's taken a moment of reflection. So let's just paint these guys out here. Let's just choose a little bit of grass from over here to paint them out. Look, well, sorry guys, no offense, but okay, so we've got a wall just here, so we want to take that wall line with us, help us on that wall line there, and just some brickwork. Just take some little bit. I'm going to borrow that from there. Just gently ease it along, and take that down from there, giving us the end of the wall. Let's take that back up there. So now we've got the end of the wall, and it's nice and neat. It was till I did that. There, nice and neat. Okay, is there anything else that I don't like? I'm not sure I like that sticking out there, so I'll borrow that from there and just paint those pebbles out there. So that's fine, I like that. So let's start separating this picture up. So first of all, we know we've got a sky there. Now I'm going to let the trees go, this tree line here. I'm not too worried about those going. Okay, so I'm going to go right away underneath the trees and over here. So select, modify, feather. Nice big wide feather on that, and let's start bringing that down. Bringing that grey down at the bottom here. Remember we talked about that, and bring the blacks in, look. And now we're seeing some nice effect. And can you see I'm losing these to black, but that's okay because this picture is going to end up much more contrasty than it is at the moment. So now I'm going to pick around that where we've got those blacks just coming in, look, and take it all the way down around there. Select, modify feather, and let's start playing with this. Let's bring this down, and as you know, I like to take the tones down and then bring them back up again. So now I'm getting somewhere. So we can start taking our dodge tool. We're on highlights, I'm on 11%, and we'll start bringing some tones back in. Here we go. I think we can be a bit more than 11 here. Let's take 28. So we're a little bit faster. We've just got to be fairly careful that we don't try and do too much at the same time. Let's bring these in here. And there we go, look. And there. Those bits of water, can you see how we're starting to get the highlights into that water? Same down here. And on these trees here. Do you know what, we can go even more. Well, let's go 46%. Wow, we are pushing the boat out today. You see, and we bring some light into the sky. Paint with our paintbrush style of dodging and burning. And literally this shadow detail down here, I'm now going to start highlighting some of that and really starting to lift the highlights on the trees, get the contrast up. That's what I like to get that contrast going. That's much better. Look, trees from that sunlight are being highlighted, and down here I'm going to bring some sunlight into it by painting that across there. Look, I'll let the sunlight begin. There we go. These little bits of white here, actually bits of snow. It was so cold. I think we've got little bits of snow flurries just starting. I know it looks quite warm, but it wasn't. So there. Okay, so I'm going to cut this area out here. Look, I want to work a little bit quicker on this foliage now. On the darker foliage, I'm going to select, modify feather, 120, hide that selection, and now I'm going to lift the greys. Look, lifting the greys, you see? Up they come, down with the blacks, and now we're getting somewhere. Look, you could start to see those areas that I dodged in earlier. That's nicer, isn't it? Can you see we're starting to get some beautiful tones coming in here, and we're going to just use the burn tool to add to that. Just the shadows. This is just affecting the shadows, so just down here. Woo, let's get some shade in there. So the sun is grabbing the outer branches, but it can't penetrate, can't get in here, you see. We do want a bit of light down here. I think this needs a little bit of light. And we'll feather that. We don't do anything without a feather. Not on this program. And there we go, look. Lift it. Can you see how we've lifted that in there now? We've let the sun in. And we're going to do the same here on that. I'm just going to select, modify feather. I'm going to increase a little bit of contrast. I'm going to bring those greys up, bring the blacks back, bring the whites up. Just there. That's nice. And now you can see the sunlight all the way down these water. This is water going all the way down here and around here and all the way into here. So let's do some recropping, because as I said before, I think at the moment we've just got too much water on this, and I like this bridge here, and I like this coming in from the picture and leading us right the way down into the middle of the picture, which means, of course, we don't need all this sky, way too much sky. So for those of you who like the rule of thirds, I'm not a big fan of rules, as you know, but this time I'm going to put that horizon onto a rule of third. There, look. So double click on that. There. Now we're getting somewhere. That's a nice picture. So let's keep working on it. Let's bring a little bit of light in here. Let's start cutting out some shadow areas here. Select, modify, feather, and let's see, don't hide. Can you see how we've allowed the sun into this area, but the shade underneath, that dappled sunlight, that's beautiful, isn't it? Dappled sunlight. And we'll try a little bit over here. Okay, we'll go around that, and we just want the shadow underneath. Look, modify further. We just want the shadow. So here comes the shadow. There it is. We can see now. Look, can you see? I'll let that go slightly lighter. There. We've let the sun into those shadow areas. Look, it's coming through here into those shadow areas. I like that. Now you can kind of see where we're getting the sun in and out from these clouds. And I've got the burning tool here, and we're gonna make those clouds a little bit darker, a little bit moodier. Okay, particularly up here, look, I want these really moody. So now I feel it's time to start bringing, we'll bring it a little bit. This would be reflected down here, wouldn't it? We would have these dark clouds in here, look. Yeah, reflected in the water, the darkness of that water there. And then we've got the bits of sun coming around. Let's cut that out. We're going to go dark, so we're going to keep the cut on a dark line. Look, dark, 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 all the way on that dark line. Select, modify, and modify and feather. Let's have a look now if we can't take that down a little bit. There. Bring those greys back in. Look at that now. We've got that beautiful shade from there. I think that sky could probably come down slightly more. Do you? We're almost allowing it to morph into a bit of a panorama there. That's a nice picture. That's starting to look really nice. Okay, so a couple of little areas down here. I don't know if they're bits of snow or what, but they certainly aren't dust. Digital picture. Okay, got a little twig in the water there. Don't want that. Got rid of that. And a little something there that I don't particularly like. There. That's starting to look good. I still don't like this over here, and I still think we need to do something over here. So let's go down this line here, round that edge there. Let's work on that. Modify feather. And that stormy day. Here we are. A little bit of darkness down there in the background. That in the background there is the start of the Wrekin in Shropshire. We're actually in the West Midlands here. We're near the Merry Hill Shopping Centre in Brierley Hill. And this here is a flight of 9 locks altogether. So if you're on a canal barge, a narrowboat, and you are coming to this area, you better have your Weetabix before you get to this area, because it's going to take some muscle. It's going to take some strength. You're going to have to open every one of these locks one at a time to climb from down here to up here. Now we've got some graffiti on the bridge here. I could get rid of that, but for me it makes the picture, because we've got this beautiful natural scene, and we've got this person made this historic heritage iron bridge coming in, leading us into the picture, and then we have the modern world just here. And what's he contemplating? What's he looking down at? He's on his own. There's nothing there. He's not looking at anything. He's thinking. He's lost in his thoughts. The clouds are building overhead, and I'm going to bring these in because I really like the way they're going to make the picture. They're going to give that little effect of human interaction. I mean, it's one of those difficult things, isn't it? You know, do you show? I mean, you don't want to encourage. I'm going to take that down to 50 here. You don't want to encourage graffiti, obviously, but it's a funny thing, you know. I was talking to a public artist once who told me that as long as it didn't damage, and obviously this does damage, so this isn't what we're talking about, but when they put sort of hats on sculptures and things, Christmas hats and the like, they actually really like it. They say, the artists say, well, that's the public taking ownership. It's their statue. They really like that. I don't like graffiti. I think it's you know, abominable. But it was there on the day we were there, so we're going to include it. A little bit of darkening in down here. The shadow detail, look, just here. Down there, look. We're going to paint a little bit of extra in there. And I think we're getting close now, everybody. I've got painting in these little shadow details. Little shadow details there. And across there. A little bit more around here. Into the shadows. Deep into the shadows. And start creating our picture. And just there, I'm going to let that select, modify further. I'm going to let that go much darker there. Okay, now we want our grain. We want to give it that effect that we've taken this as a black and white picture. If we would have taken it in black and white film. So I'm going to go onto filter gallery, and on filter gallery I'm going to get on grain. Boom. And there it is. That's the finished image. I'm pleased with that. And we did it with just an everyday compact camera. It was an old compact camera you get for less than £100 in the second-hand market. That was a Fuji X10. I like the picture. I like the person standing lost with their thoughts on the left-hand side, probably feeding the ducks. And everybody's got some water near where they live, whether it's a canal or a lake or even the sea. Go on out and discover taking pictures in colour, then converting them to black and white, working on them piece by piece, looking at the shadows, looking at the highlights, and working a picture exactly how you want it. It's such good fun. Look, I hope you've enjoyed this Joy of Photography. If you have, please consider subscribing to the channel. I try and put a new Joy of Photography on every Thursday, and a general photography chit chat every Saturday at 1 o'clock.